Oh my god. Get the tea ready, get sat down. This is honestly, I'm so shook by this. I'm already so shook I haven't even started. Do you want to see the lead up to these events? Okay, this is literally me finding out this tea.
Billy, thank you. This is awesome. Oh, I'll be completely honest. I don't know the first thing about installing a hydro brake. To my understanding, they're all like a universal fit. We need to.
Get the tea ready! Everything has kicked off. Everything has kicked off. Everything has gone crazy. It was like World War III in here, honestly. You would not believe, like, magazines, TVs, newspapers, articles everywhere popping up about this. Basically, James Charles has found himself in a scandal. But first of all, of course, let me give you a brief introduction to the perpetrator. James Charles is a 17-year-old beauty guru based in the US. He was born in 1999, could you imagine? Instagram is the place where he is the most famous. I believe he has 1.5 million followers. He became famous originally because he posted a photo of him using a ring light for his graduation because apparently like he didn't like the lighting in the room. This is when he was like 16, I think. And it got shared by someone on Twitter, ended up getting retweeted, took a massive whirlwind. And then eventually he ended up scoring a deal with CoverGirl. Now from what the kids are saying, from what I understand, he was almost like begging a little bit to become the face of CoverGirl, and from what I hear, he is a bit of a social climber, but I don't know that for certain. I haven't witnessed it myself, so I would not say that definitively. Let's get straight to the tea. You know, I don't like to hold back when it comes to stuff like this. James Charles tweeted out, I thought we were past this. I honestly thought we were past this. I can't believe we're going to Africa today. Oh my god, what if we get Ebola? James, we're fine. We could have gotten it at Chipotle last year. ... Plagiarism face. I mean, I know he's young, I know he's 17, but Ebola? The thing that gets me is it's not a case of an Ebola joke. Like, I think 2 or 3 years ago when Ebola was quite big, I went to a Valentine's Day? I went to a Halloween thing and one person is dressed up as an Ebola victim and one person was in like a hazmat suit. And it was very like, there was that, but that wasn't directly making a tie to an entire continent. Do you see what I mean? I think that was a very, like, harsh joke. But this is suggesting that going to Africa means you're going to get Ebola. But obviously, you know, going to an entire continent and saying I might get Ebola, the underlying thing is being extra, but it's quite offensive to people from Africa. It's like, oh my god, don't go to Africa, you'll catch Ebola. Ha! I didn't really get that. I just thought that was quite harsh. I don't know, what do you think? Oh my god. Anyway, that isn't even the beginning of the story. That was the initial tweet. I believe it got around 500 likes and loads of retweets before he deleted it. Then he jumped on a plane to Africa. I don't know what school he goes to. I don't know what kind of private school he goes to where at 17 years old, you get trips to Africa. I have no idea. Why don't we take a little bit of a look before we get into the stuff that happened after this tweet? Why don't we look at some of James's previous tweets just to try and give a form of context as to his opinions on this. The rest of the video is going to contain things to do with racism and racial context. If you are someone that's easily offended or someone that's easily triggered, I don't think you should watch the rest of this video. Someone tweeted out, would you guys hate me if I got a little fake tan before summer started? To which James replied, yes, that is cultural appropriation and is extremely disgusting and not okay. Tanning, you're trying to be another race. So bad. That was 2016 March. So it was only a year ago. I don't know, what do you think about that? I mean, it seems like he's trying to make a joke out of cultural appropriation. I can kind of see the counter argument that people do take it too far and sometimes people just get offended by anything. But at the same time, cultural appropriation, like, isn't, like, the core meaning behind it isn't really a joke. Do you think it's offensive? Do you think he's like being nasty to people that claim that something is cultural appropriation? Because I do understand cultural appropriation. Like, I find it irritating. I do. Like, when people do things and it's just like, why is that? Like, I think there's times that people misuse the word and it just looks ridiculous, but I do think that cultural appropriation is ridiculous. Like, I just find it irritating. I just don't get it. Like, people started wearing bindis to festivals. I was like, oh, are you married? Confusing. So a bindi doesn't mean that you're getting married, but that photo is from my favourite Hindi film, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. It's really funny. The actress is called Kajol. She's like my favourite person in the world. She's so funny. Another tweet by James Charles. What the hell? This is not okay. This is a person of colour with some sort of thing tied into their hair. It looks like they have like braids and they've tied it up into like a ponytail. I didn't really see an issue with that. I don't really understand what the issue is. I think it's quite common, like black girls often get braids. It's like a normal thing, you know, white people get ponytails, black girls get braids. Like obviously not everyone, like everyone has their own style, but it's quite a common thing. Anyone with like black origin will know how hard it is to deal with like black hair. Like it's often very frizzy and it's very difficult to work with. You can try and relax it, which often works really well. My best friend back home used to always relax her hair, but she couldn't do it all the time because it leaves it really damaged. So one really good alternative is braids. And in this instance, I don't know, I didn't really get, like maybe he was talking about the shoes. I don't think he was talking about the shoes. I didn't really get it. I was just like, James, really? I think when it comes to race, it's very, very difficult because I'm in the middle. I really don't have like a prejudice towards any race whatsoever. Having had people like say racist things when I was younger, like I don't really. This is such a touchy topic, and no matter what I say, people are going to be offended and take things out of context. I don't think there's any point even clarifying. But anyway, on to the next thing, which I thought was juicy. July 2016, so not that long ago. Good morning, everyone, except for Jeffree Star. Just wanted to remind you all that Kat Von D is a legend. Oh, okay. The reason this comes across as funny is obviously, you know my thoughts on Lord Voldemort, Mr. Racist. You know my thoughts on violence against anyone, and you know my thoughts about racism. I think it's one thing to make a mistake and apologise, but I think it's another thing to be continuously racist over this period of years and then suddenly turn around because it doesn't fit in with your marketing strategy and say, oh, I'm sorry, with a couple of tweets directing the blame onto someone else and not actually taking responsibility for half, if not most of your accusations made against you. I think it's ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. According to Jeffree, I'm a child who can't take the truth. At least I have time to learn whilst this grown-ass man is still making excuses. I would say I agree, and I do agree. The issue, though, of course, is James Charles, being the social climber that we hear he is, evidently saw where the money was at and saw that to get into that certain clique of people that he wanted to get in with, he had to be cordial with Jeffree. So here we can see a photo of James Charles climbing up Manny's arse, with Manny climbing up Jeffree's arse. This is like Human Centipede, could you imagine? I honestly just find it so peculiar watching these people together. This was posted on Jeffree's Snapchat, so I do think that's peculiar. Is that the dress that he wore to his birthday? That he was like, oh my god, I wore that dress first because some girl was wearing it to the Grammys. And Attitude magazine quoted and was like, no babe, you wore it in your kitchen, she wore it to the Grammys, like she actually has talent, she's not just a racist cretin. Anyway, what do you think about this? To me, the whole situation just seems ridiculous. This whole little clique, to me, when I look at them, it reminds me of a viral picture I saw when I was younger. It just looks like inbreeding to me. It's like this is the result of people that are related breeding. I'm sorry if that comes across as offensive, but I'm going to be honest with you on my channel, that's just how it seems. It's like everything starts off wholeheartedly and innocent, and then when people realise that money's involved, it just becomes ridiculous. Obviously with Jeffree, I don't think he has a soul. I mean, if we take a closer look. But with Manny, I think when he was younger, I think he did have a soul. And I mean, it seems strange because James is almost like a younger Manny now. Like, how long is it going to be? I mean, obviously Manny is following in James's footsteps. Manny Mua signed a contract with Dollar Tree to do some mascara work, and James had already been front face of CoverGirl. It's almost like having a token boy in the media. I'm not saying that that's an issue. I do think that you have to pay a certain level of respect to guys in the industry because it's often, guys are met with a lot more prejudice, and it's a lot harder for guys to wake up in the morning and wear makeup most of the time and leave the house because they are going to be met with a lot of abuse, you know? But at the same time, I don't think that that puts guys' skills on a pedestal. I think you have to have respect for them for doing something that's probably going to get them a lot of abuse. But at the same time, it doesn't mean that their work is necessarily better than anyone else's. I mean, Manny MUA, how many years has he been doing makeup and he still can't match his foundation? I'm sorry. I don't want to be mean, but it's just like a continuous thing. What I find peculiar is when you look at Jeffree's face, like, I know that everyone gets a bit of work done, but if we look at a before and after, it's just like cheeks, eyes, lips, nose, jaw, chin, everything. I just think it's strange. I don't know. Anyway, moving past that subtle shade, here is another tweet from James Charles. I wish I was a chubby black woman who sang in a barbershop style a cappella group. Okay. Whoa, I really wanted a cute yellow Minion sweatshirt for $10, but no, they didn't have any in my size. Stupid Indian man on the broadwalk. What does his race have to do with him being stupid? That's what gets me. Like, okay, you're calling someone stupid, like you're disrespecting them, okay, but what does them being Indian have to do with it? I was just a bit confused by that. I don't like to throw the word racism around like lightly. I really think it's like a serious topic, so I won't just like, she's racist, he racist, she racist, he... Like, to me, it's a serious thing to accuse someone of being. Ew, why did the students like Patricia's dress? It was so ugly. OMFG, she needs to go with her, like, Native American sashes and stuff. Ooh. I met Noelle and Catherine and Patty and Matt and Gabe and my Mexican Instagram slave. Again, Instagram slave I can get, but why Mexican? What does you know where he comes from have to do with it, or where she comes from have to do with it? I just don't get it. Do you see what I mean? Obviously, there's like a whole stigma which we do need to battle against Mexican people, you know, where people are calling Mexican people slaves and horrible things like that. Obviously, I completely disagree. And I just don't get it. I mean, it's the same thing with Tana Mongeau. This is why I decided in my head that Tana Mongeau was racist. She was posting on Instagram comments to people about, I think she called a man of colour a cotton picker or something like that, or you need to go back to picking cotton. And yeah, I think we know my thoughts on stuff like that, so I'm not going to go into it. I wish I was black so I could be in a gospel choir. I didn't realise one of the requirements for being in a gospel choir was being black. I thought it was actually more to do with having an amazing voice. I would rather be an acquaintance to a black person than a creamy rich sauce. Okay. Anyway, obviously this entire thing kicked off with the initial tweet which we covered, in which he was talking about Ebola. So I just wanted to give you a context so you know that this isn't like a complete one-off. There have been touchy tweets before this point. Affinity magazine picked up on this instantly, as did I and many other people on YouTube. His manager called us and told us to take this down. We said, nope, please spread this. So basically, James Charles' manager called Affinity magazine that posted an article about this and asked them to take it down. CoverGirl's new boy, James Charles, just said all Africa has Ebola. That is what he was implying. I don't know, I just think, you know what, for the amount of money that this young boy is earning, and I think to be so young and to have so much given to you, you need to be smarter. You don't have an excuse. People can say he's young, he's this age, he's that age, but in reality, I would presume he reels in, I'm going to take a wild guess and say $30,000 per Instagram post based on sponsorships. You know, where they put like, they'll link a company and they'll say like, I use this mascara, I use this lash. They usually pay to do that often. For example, if you look through Nikki Tutorials, I think she's a very good example. I always presume that she's paid heavily for her Instagram posts. And, you know, James, I think the same. I do think James makes most of his living off Instagram. I imagine he makes 30,000 a post. And to be at that sort of level, I don't think you have an excuse. I really don't. I think you have to take responsibility. You are reaching a massive audience. I understand the argument, you know, it's my friends, it's my humour, etc, etc. And I always, you know, when I have a tweet, I'm always tweeting as if I'm tweeting to you, just friends. But I do think you have to take a step back sometimes and remember that some things aren't really funny and they are just offensive. And there's no humour behind it. Like, I can understand offensive humour, and I'm not very prissy towards that. Like, sometimes, you know, the whole thing with PewDiePie, which I think I want to make a whole video about, to be honest, which is not in our community, but I think you'll like it, because it is kind of relevant. That's a separate story. But with this, it just seems like, James, it wasn't funny, and it was offensive. It's like a lose-lose situation. Of course, I'm very interested to hear what you think about this. Do you think James Charles is racist? Let me know. And also tell me down below what you think about the whole situation. There's so many people that things are coming forward with where it sounds like they're being racist. And you know my thoughts on racism. I don't throw the word around lightly. I do think you have to use it seriously. So if you ever think that I'm picking sides with someone, I'm honestly completely not. It's really just a case of me not wanting to water down the word. But in this instance, it's really like, why Mexican? Why Mexican slave? Why Indian? Why stupid Indian man? Why not just stupid man? What does his race have to do with it? It does sound like he has an underlying issue with people of colour. It does sound like that. And I'm not the first person to be offended or anything like that from anything I see on the internet, but that's how it comes across to me anyway. But that's just my opinion. It's not the truth. You know, that's my truth anyway. I would love to hear what you have to think about it. I want to say a massive thank you for watching. I have some very exciting scandals coming very soon, and I will see you very soon. Bye. Let me take a moment for my highlight formula. Oh my god. Oh, that's perfect. It's just the consistency that I like. Not too milky, not too strong. Yes, that's perfect.